Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Guilty as Charged podcast. My name is Steven, and I am the host, as always, coming to you live after the Chargers get a convincing win on Sunday Night Football, 30-13 over the Chicago Bears. Joining me to break down everything, as always, is my guy Tyler. Tyler, what's up, man? How you doing tonight?
Great. It just felt nice for them to get a lead, hold the lead, build the lead, and win the game. Like, that's nice. I would love for more than one game out of the year to be like this. It's not always like that, but you know what? On prime time, heading into the week, it's nice. So I feel good. Steven, how are you?
I'm doing great. It was a very relaxing football game. I enjoy these kind of football games very much. I wish they would happen more often, like you guys, I'm sure everybody else in the chat here would. Just took care of business. I was talking with my wife on the way over and about just the game, and she just mentioned like she felt like everything was in sync, everything was kind of connected, everything was working well together for the most part, and just a game that the Chargers really needed to have coming off of two very tough losses. So the Chargers sit at 3-4 after this one, kind of, staying within reach of the rest of the AFC. So should be some stuff to get into here tonight. But like you mentioned, it was nice to sit back, have a relaxing football game, and see the Chargers, stay ahead the entire way like this.
Although I was worried after the very first play, it was for 41 yards and there was a defensive pass interference. I'm like, I'm just going to turn off my TV. But no, they got it together after that, and that was awesome. I mean, it was really nice to see a game like this. I don't anticipate this happening again the rest of the year. Certainly not with some of their opponents coming up, but I'll take it. I think we needed this. Even if this ends up being a horrible, awful season the rest of the way, just every once in a while, a game where you win and you're good, and it's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. So we'll dive into some of it, but I think my biggest takeaway is just that Kellen Moore kind of gave us the stuff that we wanted tonight. We mentioned or discussed with EJ and Brett that just the Chargers needed to find a way to stay in rhythm and stay on track, and it felt like they did that tonight. That first drive really set the tone for the rest of the night. The Chargers go. Let me make sure I get this right. Chargers go 10 plays, 92 yards, 6 minutes basically off the clock to get their first touchdown. Everything was pretty much in rhythm the entire drive. The added emphasis of Austin Ekeler tonight really, swung that start to really get them into a rhythm. It felt like they really leaned into a more, quick passing game approach, screens, running the football, all that stuff. So I think this was a get right game for the offense, in my opinion. There were certainly some things in the second half that I'm sure they would like to clean up, but everything was in rhythm from the jump in the first half. And I thought that first drive in particular really set the tone for how they were going to play the rest of that game.
Yeah, we were really looking for them to hit some of the easy stuff. I mean, EJ Snyder kind of called it perfectly, I think, previewing this game, where let's lower the ADOT. Let's hit the things that Herbert feels comfortable with. Let's not have to take, all the time these deep shots to these players, especially with the personnel you have right now and with Josh Palmer being hurt, then getting hurt again in game. He's kind of been their deep guy with Mike Williams out. So, let's just pause for a bit, take what the defense is giving you. And they did. I think that Ekeler would very obviously early on and often as a receiving option was huge for them. It wasn't pushing the ball down the field, but Ekeler got a ton in the receiving game early on. I think that the way that you used Donald Parham was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how late some of those, delays from after, blocking were, but it seemed like there was intention behind each of those. It wasn't just like a busted play necessarily. It really felt like he disengaged at appropriate times where it felt intentional. And they got that ball in the hands of a guy who's very good after the catch, very good at missed tackles forced. I still don't know how, given how tall he is and how big this guy is, but he's excellent at that. So it just really felt like they kept things short. They made it, Herbert feel very comfortable. And you could really see in that first half, and really for most of the game, protection held up. And if it didn't even need to, because the ball was out quicker. There are aspects of, Joe Lombardi's offense we don't like, obviously, but there are positive things about it. And just working the short game like that, like Kellen Moore did today, I think was pretty solid. So other than, like late third quarter to fourth quarter, it really felt like the offense was just clicking no problem. it just kind of became an issue in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know how much of an issue I really have with the second half. You know, the 3 and out, or they get the opening drive, 10 plays, 40 yards, get the field goal, make it 27-7. The 3 and out after that wasn't great, but you know, they still got points after the fourth down stop. And then they went for it on fourth down with Austin Eckler, and then they obviously had the Austin Eckler fumble. I don't know how much of an issue I have with this second half, but you know, you're up 30-7 before the fourth quarter even starts. Like I don't know how much of an offense you're really going to have in that kind of instance in the NFL. Like you're not going to try and be aggressive and throw the football downfield. Like, so you're pretty limited in that instance. I'm curious to go back and watch the tape there, but they moved the football on two of the fourth quarter drives, just had the fourth down not go their way, which, you know, running behind Trey McKitty and Foster Sarell, I think that's a choice I would not be making personally.
Right.
And then Austin Eckler fumbles on the screen to set up the Bears touchdown at the end. So, you know, hard to really complain about that. But I think we really saw this offense, I think, get the things out of their system that they needed to get out of their system. You mentioned Donald Parham having a big game, Quentin Johnston as well. We've been begging essentially for this kind of performance. And I think that 2-minute drive in particular, right before the half, was like the key thing there. We were all kind of messaging, and I'm sure everybody tweeting about the Simi Fehoko touchdown was an interesting choice, designing to play for Simi Fehoko in the red zone instead of Quentin Johnston. But 5 catches, 50 yards. In that 2-minute drive right before the half, it was really Quentin that got that drive going. You know, the Chargers had a first down incomplete pass, and then a second down pass to Quentin Johnston for 11 yards. First and 10, again, short pass to Quentin Johnston. That was the yards after the catch play for Quentin Johnston. Really, I think that drive in particular is just going to give them some really positive momentum, them meaning Justin and Quentin. He had the third down conversion at the 17-yard line as well. So it was just a really momentum building drive, particularly for those two. And I'm hopeful that things can move forward with those two. We'll see what happens with Josh Palmer's health. Got banged up a little bit again with his knee. You know, hopping on the sideline just on the one leg was interesting to look at. But, you know, it was really nice to see Quentin get on track. I would have loved to see him get that touchdown. But 5 for 50, man, like basically matches his season output leading up to today. So I thought that this is a good game for Quentin to get going in the back half of the season.
Yeah, he finally had more of what we've been hoping from him. And as soon as he got like his 5th catch or whatever, you know, we're all feeling good. Then Sunday Night Football had to do us dirty and put up the graphic of the other receivers and their stats. I'm like, come on, guys, let me have this at least for one night. Yeah. No, it was great. He picked up, he was responsible for 5 different first downs, 4 of them through catches and 1 of them through the defensive pass interference. And, you know, it wasn't a big game by any means, but you need him to start contributing. And I think you really saw what we've been hoping for. The first screen to him, you know, where he tripped, I'm going, oh, geez. You know, we asked for one thing and that's what happens. But then the shallow crosser where he made multiple guys miss, I think he picked up on like 5-ish after the catch. That was great. That sort of stuff is exactly what we're hoping for from him. Hopefully the fades, the jump ball opportunity stuff kind of picks up. But that's never been his game. I'm not really expecting that from him. But the missed tackles for stuff, that's what I'm hoping for. And that's what we saw. So, you know, if we're looking for them to build chemistry together, I think the shallow crossers are great. I think the stuff on the outside was arguably more impressive than anything else because of, other than the jump ball that he didn't get, but the 2 throws to the right sideline where he had to really kind of drive back and get back to the football. And of course, he picked up the 1 first down off defensive pass interference. That was impressive because he's not, you know, physicality and playing press or fighting with corners. That's not really his thing. So to see him be able to do that was really, really good to see. Again, more trust in those situations. It's not just having to go to Keenan Allen. Although they did very early on that slant to Keenan Allen with Quentin on the outside. But just knowing you do have that option on the outside, that you do have a guy, you know, Sauce Gardner's a very different corner than anything they'll see the rest of the season. But the fact that you could go to him in situations where he's not covered by Sauce Gardner, I think you feel pretty good. So have been looking for it, have been hoping for it. We got it, and he didn't disappoint. So I don't see any reason why you can't continue to try to get these manufactured touches going. especially with the Jets and their defensive front up next.
Yeah, no, that was nice to see that people were kind of crushing him a little bit for the jump ball, but Jalen Johnson had his right arm pretty much hooked under there, so Quentin didn't really have a choice. Like he just had to try and one hand that, and obviously was not able to come down with it. So, like you mentioned, drew the pass interference, had the other back shoulder throw, which he had a really nice one against the Chiefs last week too. So it just feels like some confidence is being built here between Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnston. And I get it. Jordan Addison scored again today. Zay Flowers is doing everything. It's been a slower start, but we kind of expected this. Quentin Johnston was behind, obviously, the 3 starters, and just as kind of more of a raw prospect. So it's taking him some time. Like being somebody who follows obviously Utah football, like Dalton Kincaid had a great game on Thursday against the Thursday night primetime game against whoever the Bills are playing. I can't remember right now. But up until that point, it was kind of the same kind of usage as Quentin was getting. There wasn't a ton of Dalton Kincaid usage. Jackson Smith and Jigba, not a ton of usage up in Seattle. And then today, again, he kind of had that really nice breakout performance, had the game-winning touchdown there. So it just takes some time for some of these rookies to come in and make an impact. And we're seeing that with Quentin Johnston. I think this is going to be a positive game for them to build on with him specifically going forward.
Yeah, and for all the some people do the Mike Williams comparison thing. Well, Mike Williams did this his first year or whatever. Yeah, I think Quentin Johnston has officially passed Mike Williams receiving yards total his rookie season. Not that that's saying a lot, but he did. So there's that positive stuff moving forward. I don't know why it didn't start earlier, but I'm happy to see it. And frankly, I think that the return of we're assuming Jalen Guyton next week, though I feel like we keep saying that, will help open up things more for him too.
Yeah, 100%. So good game from most of the Chargers receiving options. Austin Eckler, 7 for 94, leading the team. Keenan's 8 for 69. Nice. Quentin Johnston, 5 for 50. Donald Parham, 4 for 43. Josh Palmer, again, gets injured a little bit, but we'll see what happens there. Jalen Guyton theoretically should be coming back next week as well. All right, Tyler, what are your thoughts on the way the defense played tonight? 13 points. There was definitely a Velus Jones touchdown that probably should have counted.
Yeah.
But for the most part, what did you make of the defensive performance tonight?
Yeah, other than the 3-ish plays that were almost, Mooney not being touched down by Asante Samuel Jr., but the whistle being blown dead, Cole Kmet potentially could have scored there. They ended up scoring anyway. The Velus Jones touchdown. Other than that, I think the defense played awesome. And really it's reflected in the way that the score turned out, right? They held them pretty much the entire game. There was some concerns, some worries from fans that this would be the game that the run defense finally broke. They were worried about, okay, this is a team that loves to run it, has been running it very well, has the tight ends, has the running backs, not the quarterback anymore, but they have the guys to do it. And again, the Chargers defense, the run defense was really, really good. Foreman, they couldn't lean on like one guy. And frankly, the script never allowed them to get into a rhythm, but still 2.9 yards per carry as a team for the Bears. Yeah. Not great for the Bears. They've been doing so much better the last few weeks. Not so great this game. So that was great. Again, early, the Asante Samuel Jr., catch that he allowed, that wasn't great, but otherwise he played a really good game. It seemed like Derwin James was much better this game. It felt like the guys on defense who were hurt, who are another week removed from being hurt or returning from injury, they looked so much better. Joey looked so much faster today. Derwin looked so much faster today. It looked like guys that, I don't have a hurt hamstring as much anymore. My toe isn't as fractured as it was before. Like they looked so much better today. Yeah. And sure, there's an aspect of that that's the Bears, but I mean, they literally looked faster and more physical today. That was great. Alohi Gilman, welcome back. We talked about before the show or before the game. For some reason, he's always around a turnover. Lo and behold, another turnover. Alohi Gilman was around. Yeah, it's wild how he is around a turnover, whether it's his fault or not, like in a good way. So that was impressive. So again, it seemed like the defense played really, really well. Again, holding to only 13 points. Sure, there's a couple of plays you'd like to have back, but I thought this could have gone either way. I thought the Bears would score at least 21 on the Chargers and only scored 13. So that's a touchdown and an extra point better than I thought.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with watching Tyson Bagent on tape. There was certainly a lot of like gadgety stuff that the Bears did against the Raiders, but listen, man, I thought the Chargers defense came ready to play for that kind of stuff. I think you saw that right away when the Bears tried to do a jet sweep and Mack was right there, tackle for loss. That was after the big play to Darnell Mooney. So that tackle for loss really kind of brought the defense back, I think, to what they were, how they were expecting to play. We for the people who are just going to be like, oh, like this is the Bears, and I think long term, like we'll see. Like I'm not going to rush any judgment right here, but I mean, we just saw the Bears kick the Raiders' ass last Sunday. Like this is any given Sunday. The Broncos beat the Chiefs today. The
Yeah.
Panthers got their first win against the Texans today. Like anything can happen in these kind of games, and you just never know. So the Chargers defense, I thought, came ready for the gadgety stuff that the Bears were going to do. They tried the double pass again this week. They did it against the Raiders last week, and it worked. This week, Khalil Mack was ready for it, and that became a key red zone stop. So the preparation was what stood out to me. There was still like the off coverage stuff, which I don't necessarily agree with, but at the same time, that off coverage stuff led to Asante Samuel Jr. breaking up like 3 key passes tonight, really letting his instincts shine. The interception that didn't count was a hell of a break on the football. So I thought the Chargers just preparation stood out to me on both sides of the football. Mentioning Kellen Moore and like how things just kind of got into rhythm. The defense was ready for all of the Bears stuff. So again, yes, it is the Bears, but the team came out ready to rock, ready to show out what they were ready to do tonight, and that was not the case last week. And so this was a really nice positive step. We'll see how much it matters next week, but they took care of business tonight. 30-13 is nothing to laugh at today for the Chargers.
Yeah, while the Bears were certainly not going to disguise anything, and there was no real surprises in this game that I could think of, the Chargers were at least prepared for that. Like whatever the Bears were going to do, the Chargers were prepared for it. It seemed very much so like they were ready to break on anything that was going outside, jump inside on those, because you got to throw it in front of me and over my head or whatever. If you're going to throw it out, we'll jump right in the middle of those two things, in between the 2 points of the straight line, and pick the ball off. And Zante had one, they came back for that one pass breakup. It seemed like they were just very aware of what the Bears were going to try to do. There was a lot they could do, but they were aware, and I'll take that. Like I'll take a unit that seemed like they studied, knew what they had to do. The game plan was sound. I'll take it. Honestly, it was really reassuring, and frankly, I don't think the Jets are all that much of a surprise next week either. I mean, Garrett Wilson is a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. A lot of weapons. Breece Hall's very good, obviously. I just don't know that they're like this dynamic of a different, throw you different things sort of offense. I'll see. I'll have to see. I didn't watch them today. Obviously, they didn't put up a ton of points today, but I think that's good heading into that game because it is going to take the defense to win that game. I think even more so than the offense.
Yeah, the Jets won a football game today where the opposing team had -9 passing yards. So that's just kind of where they're at. The Jets are essentially playing like Titans football, like what you expect of watching the Titans game, where they just kind of like mug you up and like make it a closer game than it should be and everything like that. That's how the Jets are playing right now. So the Jets won 13-10 today in overtime in a game where, like I said, where the Giants had -9 passing yards. So the Jets today had 62 plays, 251 total yards. They averaged 4 yards per play today. And the Giants defense is good, like for sure. But that's hardly like, I don't know, man. Like I'm concerned about like Garrett Wilson, like you mentioned, but the defense should be able to hold up next week. The run defense has been a real strength of the Chargers this season. Like you mentioned, 25 carries from the Bears tonight, 73 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. If they can shut down Breece Hall next week and make Zach Wilson beat you, like I feel okay about that. But it's the offense is going to be in for a tougher fight next week for sure.
Yeah, but the offense did look better tonight. Thankfully, Herbert looked better tonight, much better tonight. Yeah, so we said this game wouldn't really change our opinion of next week's game. I do feel slightly better, at least. Like they gave a good enough win where I feel slightly better, and the Jets certainly gave a bad enough win, where I feel better about that game too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's going to be a very difficult game. Monday Night Football on the road. Weather next Monday, who friggin' knows? It was raining today, so we'll see what happens there. But Chargers offense certainly clean it up today. Definitely have to give a shout out, like you mentioned, Alohi Gilman, Derwin James. I thought played pretty well today. Kenneth Murray, I thought had a really outstanding performance today against the run. There are issues in coverage between the linebacking duo of Kenneth Murray and Eric Kendricks, but I think the two of them are really playing the run extremely well right now. And I think we saw that come to fruition tonight. Eric Kendricks did have the great pass breakup tonight, but Kenneth Murray and Eric Kendricks definitely deserve a shout out for how this team is playing the run. I think both of them are, flying downhill fast and aggressive. They're playing free. They're seeing things out. And I think both of them had standout performances against the run again tonight.
Yeah, they did. I think, what was it, like 19 total tackles between the two of them or whatever it was? I guess I can pull it up like a genius.
Yeah, 19. Yep.
Oh, wow. There you go. And then 2 pass breakups for each of them. I can't remember Kenneth Murray's. I definitely remember Kendricks. But yeah, they're not plus guys at linebacker in terms of playing the pass. If you're in terms of coverage, if they rush, fine. We've seen them be good there. But the way they're playing the run, it's been really great for them. The way they're playing sideline to sideline is great. So yeah, I don't know that they're a great duo, but the last couple of weeks they've been playing some really good football.
Yeah, 19 tackles in a game is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. Cameron Dicker, man, had himself a night. I think obviously the kicking situation for the Chargers has been up, in flux a little bit over the last few years, to say the least. But when Cameron Dicker came out for that 53-yard field goal, like, I had no doubts that he was going to make that. And it was right down the middle, looked easy. So Cameron Dicker, I think, is proving to be the right choice, even if Dustin Hopkins is also having a really nice season in Cleveland. But Cameron Dicker has just been really steady. Everything seems just like right down the middle, like basically every kick outside of the first one in the week one. But he hit from 53 tonight. And like I mentioned, I had full confidence that he was going to come in and hit that kick.
I had pretty close to full confidence, but it's still that, 50 plus. Like, I got to see a bit more, build that sample size. But you hit from 53, and that's probably his best make in terms of like the cleanest make of the night. That, I think, was his best one. The one before from like 43, I was really worried about him making that. He didn't quite make it, or he made it, but he barely made it. Who cares? You make it, you make it. But I wasn't so sure about the 53-yarder, but he made it, and that's great. So he made 54 last week, 52, 50 something.
I think it was 55 last week.
Okay. Yes. I mean, that's great. Watching Dustin Hopkins hit 4 or 5 of them against the 49ers from 50 plus was like, oh boy, did we make the wrong choice here? But no, like Cameron Dicker is clearly proving that, nope, like, we're good. We're still good here. And you have this kicker, if you keep him under contract, for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So just looking at some of Brandon Staley's quotes tonight, he said that he thinks tonight was the team's most complete game, and he said also that it was their most complete week of practice as well.
Well, it was collaborative. So that's good. They collaborated. It worked. They finally did it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What a week of quotes, man.
Uh-huh.
He also said he felt like Joey Bosa was electric in the run game. Said that he's fully healthy now, and we know he's going to play when he's healthy. So there you go. Shout out to Joey Bosa tonight.
Yeah, he looked really solid. Definitely the sack early on, had the 4th down stop, had a really good pop on Bajan at some point during the game. So I'll probably finish with like 5, 6 or so pressures, a sack, couple tackles, couple run stops. So yeah, pretty good.
Oh, I completely forgot about this. Appreciate Eddie. Jasir Taylor gets his first career interception tonight. So congratulations to Jasir Taylor. I didn't realize that was his first one. So
yeah, I almost had the one on Baker last year. I didn't realize that was his first one. Yeah, 3 different turnovers forced in 3 different primetime games.
There you go. There you go. All right, Tyler. Any other thoughts here before we get to some of these super chats? Bit of a quicker show tonight, but
yeah. No, I think everyone kind of gets the gist of what happened. Chargers played a pretty good game. Maybe could have been better in the fourth quarter, but overall 30-13 is about as good as it could have gotten. So
sure.
On to the Jets.
Hey, I will say I'm excited to watch film tomorrow. I don't have the feeling of like, oh man, I gotta go watch film, which like I always have that feeling after a Chargers loss, but watching film really helps me like see things and really appreciate or not appreciate like what is happening. So watching film has become pretty like therapeutic for me. Like every time the Chargers lose, Brooke is like, "How are you watching this?" And I'm just like, it's just part of my routine at this point.
For sure.
But I'm excited to see really what happened in this game on film tomorrow. And I just saw the comment. Asante leads the league in almost interceptions. He really does, man.
Yeah,
he really does.
All the same way.
If he were just like an inch taller, like he would be just like amazing at these interceptions. It'd be incredible, but he's not. So
yeah, and then was it Kenneth Murray that was his pass breakup that was in front of Asante, where Asante could have picked it, or did Kendricks break that one up?
That was Kendricks.
Oh, okay.
Over the middle, right? I honestly do not remember Kenneth Murray having a pass breakup.
Was it like a screen pass breakup? I don't know. Yeah, definitely Kendricks on the ASJ one.
Yeah. Which was Asante really like in position to intercept that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He jumped that. He had it perfect.
Gotcha.
So that's fine.
All right. Well, defense did well, offense did well. Should be a fun rewatch on tape tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to some of these super chats, again, if you guys have some questions you want to fire off, super chats always appreciated on Sunday night after we watch these games. So let us know if you have some questions or comments to get to. Before we get there, I have to tell you guys about our sponsors. First and foremost, Prize Picks. Hopefully you guys won some money today. I think the Justin Herbert, LeBron James special hit today. Obviously, Justin Herbert had the 3 touchdowns. If you did the Justin Herbert Bo Nix special, that certainly hit. That was not a fun game to watch yesterday. Today was much more fun for me. So appreciate Prize Picks. It's super easy way to use daily fantasy on college football, NBA, NFL, whatever your floats your boat there. It's a great app to use. Make sure and use the link prizepicks.com/guilty. Use the code guilty at checkout for a deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. So Tyler's mom has been winning money left and right, and hopefully you guys are using that as well.
Yeah, we talked about I think you talked about Eckler with the receiving yards, I believe, for the more in this game. We talked about the tackles, which definitely held, except for Derwin James, who I think only had like 5 during the game. But figured, everything in front of Kenneth Murray, in front of Kendricks, take the more there. So pretty good overall. Not a bad week. I don't know how my mom did, but I'm sure she did okay.
Yeah. Missed on Deontay Foreman getting the over on rushing attempts. Obviously, the Chargers really got up ahead more than I thought they would, which is fantastic. I think the Chargers played this game exactly how they played to get out to an early lead, stop the run, make Tyson Bagent beat you, and they were able to carry out their mission. So unfortunately, it cost me some money, but I'll take it obviously because the Chargers get a dominating win tonight. So also have to bring up our other sponsors here, Ticketmaster and Little Caesars. Ticketmaster has you covered. It is the official ticket marketplace of the NFL and the Los Angeles Chargers. Make sure and get there in person for these kind of games. We gave away 2 tickets today for this game, and Ticketmaster obviously allows you to download the tickets to your Apple Wallet, get in super easy. If anything happens, you're able to sell the tickets or transfer them. That is a very safe and clean way as well. So make sure you use Ticketmaster for all of your Chargers ticket needs. Ticketmaster.com/Chargers for those ticket needs. And Tyler, you want to tell our folks about Little Caesars?
Do I have a Little Caesars ad read in front of me? No, I do not.
Sorry, I kind of threw it on you a little bit here.
I never
but
do that one.
no, that's okay. It's all right. I didn't have mine open either. So this is live TV, folks. But Little Caesars is the official pizza sponsor of the NFL and the Los Angeles Chargers, just like Ticketmaster. Nothing better than getting some pie on a game day. It just goes with football. Same way Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. You can use Pizza Portal pickup or get delivery. And Little Caesars is just nostalgic. You know, it just brings back the high school, college memories. So go check out Little Caesars for all of your pizza needs.
Well done. I don't know if you memorized that or just read it or whatever, but that was fantastic.
That was off the dome, baby.
That was impressive. I never do those. I had my Prize Picks one in front of me, ready to go. You nailed that one. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just flying co-pilot here, just chilling. I didn't have the pizza one in front of me, but I'm glad you had that one.
I hijacked it. So it was fun.
Good.
It's all right. All right. Super chat here from Trevor Garbrandt. Do you guys believe the run defense is real as the stats say? Or do you think teams just aren't running enough because of how bad the pass defense is?
Well, I think that's, again, I commented on this earlier on social media. It's more about the per play stats for me than the raw stats. Like, sure, I mean, yes, the raw stats are also a part of it. We've talked about that, but the teams are not averaging much per play. The Chargers are a top, probably after tonight, like a top 5 unit against the run per play on an EPA per play basis. So, you know, sure, teams want to pass more and they're going to exploit that. But before it was like maybe they'd exploit the passing game and then also they'd have 6 yards per carry. You know, they'd have 3 explosive running plays or 5 or like 40-yard explosive running plays.
Yeah.
Not happening right now. No big running explosive plays outside of the Darrington Evans run, which is a pretty good design. And I mean, Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins, those guys just crushed out in front. But otherwise, like, no, I think this run defense, as it's played so far this year, is pretty legit. Like, it's a really, really solid grouping for them right now.
Yeah, I think the run defense is good. I think the pass defense being bad is helping them out, I guess, in that regard. But like you mentioned, the per play stats are great. You know, they're averaging you know, a very positive EPA per play. The success rate is fantastic. To me, like the biggest difference is honestly the edge rushers are just really, really playing out of their minds against the run. I mean, Joey Bosa had the 4th down stop tonight. Tuli Tuipulotu is second in the league heading into today among all edge rushers and run stops. Khalil Mack is playing really well against the run. And then we mentioned Kenneth Murray and Eric Kendricks. They're just being really aggressive against the run right now. I think you have some unsung heroes, Nick Williams, Austin Johnson kind of rounding into form, Sebastian Joseph Day as well. So the Chargers have put a lot more emphasis on the run this year. And that is one thing from training camp that has carried over throughout the season, is just the way that they're defending the run. And I think you listen to the interview I had with Tuli and you just really get a feel for like how they're approaching this right now. So I think it's legit. I think it's a strength of the team. It's certainly the strength of the defense. Now we just need to get everything else to kind of line up here. But I do think the run defense is definitely legitimately a strength of this team right now.
Yeah, as do I. I forget what Foreman had last week against the Raiders. We're okay. Max Crosby basically being the engine. Half as much this week, a third as much, I think, this week for the Bears. So I'd say it's not, you know, Christian saying, you know, it's not fixed in the chat. And maybe it's early to say that it's fixed, but it's way better. And we were hoping for 20s, you know, being in the 20s, and they're in the top 10 right now, I think, after this week.
No, I mentioned this on Twitter that the Bears were leading the league over the last 3 weeks in rushing attempts and as rushing yards as well. They were averaging 178 yards rushing over the last 3 games heading into today. They had 173 last week against the Las Vegas Raiders. Deontay Foreman had 16 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. Darrington Evans, 14 for 48. And then obviously Tyson Bagent had a couple scrambles, 3 for 24. This week, much more difficult of a tougher sledding for the Bears on offense with the ground game. So let me get back here to the official numbers. Deontay Foreman, 9 carries, 34 yards, 3.8 yards per carry tonight, which after averaging 5.8 last week. Roshan Johnson, he was the second running back tonight, 6 carries for 21 yards, 3.5 per carry. Darrington Evans 4 for 18, 4.5 for carry. Total for the team, 25 carries for 73 yards. Like, you take that 100% against the team that is leading the league in rushing attempts over the last 3 weeks, and they got off 25 runs tonight. It's not like they abandoned the run game even when they were down. Like, the Bears were still running the football. So I do think the run defense is a legitimate strength of the Chargers right now.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is almost good. Like, it's almost good.
Almost good.
If the 7 guys are in the front 7 are playing pretty well, the rotation is pretty strong. It's just that back end right now.
Yeah. So hopefully tonight can be a positive momentum building performance from the secondary. Miss Andrea Schoon, we won. Yay. Good night. Appreciate it. Always jumping in with the super chats. I saw you guys had a nice Halloween activity yesterday, so hopefully the rest of the Schoon family is doing well.
Yeah, awesome. Carved some pumpkins, doing all those little Halloween things. Watched Hocus Pocus. All good stuff. It was nice. Nice to do the Halloween thing. Bummer it's on a Tuesday this week, but at least I don't have to teach on Wednesday.
You guys have the day off on Wednesday?
Well, I have to go to the district office, which is slightly less fun.
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, what the hell? I want Halloween. I want Halloween after
the kids get it off. I get to go to the district office and learn about some stuff.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't like Halloween, is because it's not a national holiday. You don't get the day off for Halloween. Anyways, Tara Romero, appreciate you and Tyler as always. No complaints here about the offense. Most nights 30 will be enough points to win, especially if the defense continues to get better. Yay Herbie, yay QJ, and yay Parm.
Agree there. Yeah, I'm more concerned about what we saw from the Chiefs game and the Cowboys game in the second half than this one. I would have liked to have seen improvement in the second half in terms of scoring, but we'll see if it gets fixed next week or if it even matters.
Yeah, 100%. 30 points most nights definitely gets you a win in the NFL for sure. Don Cheto, did the trust grow between Herb and QJ tonight, and what to expect going forward with them as a tandem? Also, no glove Herbert anymore could be a prop. What do you think here?
Yeah, the whole giant cast thing on the finger, what wrap mummy thing, was pretty funny. It seemed to be better. Last week watching the film, there were several instances where Herbert looks down at his hand in pain after a handoff. Even just on film, that was apparent. So
yeah,
it seemed like it wasn't as much of an issue tonight. Less scrambling and running for his life, that's for sure. So maybe we just never really got to tell, but seemed good. Yeah, I think the trust between Quentin and Herbert, it should grow from tonight. I think just knowing that you can look back over the middle of the field, see the shallow crosser and hit that, I think that's important for them. And obviously the stuff to the sideline is good there too. It's going to be every yard is going to have to be earned next week. I think just getting a couple more throws to Quentin on the sideline, shallow crosser or whatever, you got to feel good about the connection there.
Yeah, the Jets passing defense is crazy, man, and it's one of the best defenses in the league. So I think you're going to have to see a very similar approach that they showed this week. Next week, quick passing game, shallow crossers, really big emphasis on yards after the catch. You take some shots when you can, just to avoid this Jets pass rush at all costs. And Quentin having 5 for 50 tonight is huge. I think that should be definitely a momentum going forward. The finger thing was interesting. I think it's definitely getting healthier. You saw him actually hand the ball off with his left hand as opposed to doing the two-hand thing. But every time he did it, he had his finger out. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. It wasn't he was gripping it, but he had his finger out like this every time. So he's definitely very conscious of it. I think they pointed out that he had an issue with the glove last week when it kind of got ripped off and they had to re-sew it on. So I think it's a positive thing. I think it's getting healthier. He told, I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, he told CBS that it's a 6-week injury. So this is Raiders week, bye week, Cowboys week, Chiefs week, this week. So we're almost done theoretically with the split.
Cool. Just in time for the Lions.
Theoretically, this week against the Jets would be his last week wearing a splint if all goes well.
Which it's gonna wear it just in case. I feel this week you might need it.
Yeah, probably might want to wear the glove in New York. We'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Blakely, appreciate him as always in here. Where is the breakdown with these free pass rushers almost killing Herbert? It seems like our offense stalls in the second half often due to these breakdowns. Am I the only one that thought that should have been roughing the passer? I feel like you saw a very clear like lift up and like pile drive of Justin Herbert in that instance. What did you make of that sack?
It didn't cross my mind when I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't really cross my mind when I saw it. So I saw your tweet about that, and I could see why, but it didn't really cross my mind. As far as the free rushers, it felt like they were waiting until like whoever it was waiting until Zion committed to helping out Will Clapp or something, and then they would rush. Like Zion would sit there, no one's there. Okay, he's going to help Will Clapp, and then it seemed like they were rushing the guy as soon as that happened. I don't know if you know what maybe they're supposed to do there, but it seemed like they just kind of dialed up something that was a bit unique.
Yeah, it was kind of a delayed blitz too. You mentioned Zion, but it was also whoever the back was. And so on the first one that TJ Edwards almost got home, which was when Justin escaped and threw it to Simi Fehoko, who dropped the pass, which would have been a crazy pass. That one they had Darius Davis going on motion. So once Davis cleared, TJ Edwards came on the blitz and forced Herbert out of the pocket. On the second one, you could tell Joshua Kelly was like ready for an inside blitz and it didn't come. And so he went to the outside blitz and he did a good job picking that outside blitz up. Mm-hmm. Then at that point, when you have a delayed blitzer, it really is on the quarterback to get the ball out fast. Like it really is on the quarterback in that instance. And, it's just one of those things you have to learn from, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But he is right. Like these issues, this is a different issue because this was a delayed blitz. The stunt pickup has been the biggest issue in pass protection, in my opinion. Tonight, I don't think that was much of an issue. Granted, you don't really have these, Jervon Dexter is like the best Bears pass rusher, and which is probably not great that your rookie defensive tackle is your best pass rusher.
No, I mean, I think going into this game, their leading edge rusher had only 20 pressures. I think that was Ngakoue or Walker, who seemed to have a good game against Slater today.
I think it was Walker that drew the 2 holding penalties against Slater. What are your thoughts about the way Rashawn has played so far this year?
Well, it's tough because he obviously started very well, and then there was the injury, and then he's also being listed occasionally with a shoulder injury. So it's kind of a 2 thing going on right now. So the ankle, the shoulder. It seemed like he played fine for the most part tonight, except for the few plays that we saw, like the 2 holds. So I'm gonna say, I think next game is where you start to maybe see either the bad start to happen and kind of worried about the season, or he maybe gets more back on track. I think a week away from his issue. Yes, it's a shoulder, right? I don't even know if it's like a terrible shoulder injury, but it's
This week he was listed on the injury report ankle/shoulder. So
so
he was a full participant in practice, but he is on the injury report. He's been on the injury report every single week, and then he just doesn't have an injury status. So he's definitely battling through some things. I've seen how the ankle injury can impact him. The shoulder injury was a new thing. The shoulder was not an issue previously. So it just sucks. Like I know what he's capable of when he's at his best, but it just feels like he's probably playing at like 80% right now.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
80% of Slater's is still a very good tackle. It's just, we were really hoping obviously for him to take that leap and be one of the next guys, which obviously he still can be. He's got a very long career ahead of him, hopefully. But the injuries are definitely playing a factor here.
Definitely. But overall, the whole line was much better this week.
Yeah, which they better have been. This Bears pass rush is definitely not the same. So outside of the 2 TJ Edwards delayed blitz, I thought that the pocket was clean. Even Chris Collinsworth highlighted like a couple times that the pockets were very, very clean tonight from this Chargers offensive line. So for the most part, very, very good performance from a protection standpoint.
Yep. Is that it for Super Chats? We get more.
That is it for Super Chats tonight.
JK, we got one more.
Oh, do we?
From Eric, do you think the offense is better with Parham as tight end 1? Offense look better with Parham getting more snaps? I think it's better when they use him as a receiving weapon. I don't know if it's better with him as tight end 1. I think Gerald Everett has earned a lot as a blocker as well to be considered tight end 1 for this team. Not necessarily as like a true inline guy. But I think Everett is still overall your best tight end. But no, Parham tonight was great. Like he was very involved, very much a part of the game plan, and looked really good.
I think they have two distinct roles also, like
Yeah.
from a receiver standpoint. Like Parham does a lot of his action over the middle, more vertical routes. Gerald Everett is kind of your intermediate and short tight end, if that makes sense. Like most of his targets are, between the line of scrimmage and the 10-yard line. So I feel like both of them can coexist for sure. The issue when Gerald Everett is out is that means more Trey McKitty and more Stone Smart, which we obviously saw Trey McKitty have some real blocking issues tonight, which was not great. So please go trade for a tight end tomorrow.
That was my thought. If you're worried about closing out this game and you think that the current others you bring in to help you with jumbo situations or whatever is working, I don't believe it is. Yeah. It's actually, I don't know how many snaps Trey McKitty played tonight, but it feels like I've seen him play 2 snaps the last 2 weeks, and one was not picking up a free rush and Herbert getting killed, and the other was the holding, which like that wasn't the most egregious thing I've ever seen, but it was still just like as soon as they threw the flag, I'm like, I know exactly who they're gonna call. And of course it was. So yeah, go trade for a blocking tight end. If you want to fix some of your fourth quarter, third quarter issues and you want to be able to run it out or pass protect or whatever, yeah, go get a blocking tight end.
I think they tonight showed like probably how you have to do this going forward. If you don't go trade for a tight end, like even when Jared Everett comes back, like Jordan McFadden playing fullback tonight was so much fun for me to watch. You got to keep doing that. Like sincerely, like you have to keep doing that because these tight ends just are not functional blockers. I mean, they bring in Foster Sorrell on that 4th down, which like, he didn't have a great block, but like that's the idea. Like if you don't have tight ends that you trust to perform in those moments as blockers, you got to bring in the other guys. The Browns have done a great job of kind of weaponizing almost, I guess is the word that was used on the broadcast today that I heard. Their backup center, Nick Harris, was playing fullback like on every snap in the second half. Like those are the things that you got to do when you have a subpar tight end group, which is fun for me as an offensive line guy. Like I love seeing Jordan McFadden play fullback, but it's probably more functional if you have like a legitimate blocking tight end.
Yeah, I would agree. It looked like McFadden did a great job on that block though.
Yeah. He had 3 key blocks. They opened the second half with it. And it was kind of a wind back play. So he led to the left, and then you saw some pullers go to the right, and then the Bears kind of blew it up a little bit. But I think if you're going to give Jordan McFadden more snaps going forward, I think that's definitely a way where you can kind of carve out a more consistent rushing attack.
Interesting. Isabel says Jaw got a game ball.
Oh, sure. I mean, first career interception.
Yeah. And I mean, I was certainly worried. I don't know how much Cole Kmet was on him specifically, but I was definitely worried about this game. And it was really just one big Mooney catch, and that was on Zont. That was it.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake in here. Appreciate you, Justin. Good win. Needed that. If ASJ does miss time, could it force the Chargers to trade for a corner? I don't know if there was an update on Asante Samuel Jr. I feel like he got hit in the head on that last play. And he was definitely being looked at by the trainers, but I don't know where that will be at. So in terms of training for a corner, like if he's out for an extended time, like obviously you probably should, but I don't know if it forces their hand a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so Jaw immediately jumped. So Dean was already, Michael Davis was out, and so Dean was already in. So when Zont got hurt, Jaw jumped outside, and Basie was slot. Is that what they did?
Basie was slot, yeah.
Okay, yeah, go trade for a corner. I'm not opposed. Just any one of them.
Yeah. So I mean, if Asante misses any time, like I think you definitely have to make a move. So Dean would be the starter, presumably on the outside. But yeah, I don't know. Like that's a tough spot.
One more from Christian Hernandez. How about more Herbert under center after the finger issue? Better for run game and play action. Very little creativity when you're in shotgun. Yeah, I would agree. They didn't go for it 4 on 4th down in this game, did they? Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that was under center. I think a lot of it was still under shotgun, but you know, as long as the finger continues to improve, you know, they should definitely be more under center going forward.
Yeah.
Jacob B did point out Ising Bassey did have a pass breakup on the 2-point conversion. So
he did.
He did. I don't know how much that really should impact things, though. It was a good play, though, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I show them and points out Elam needs a fresh start. Yeah, that wouldn't be. Yeah, that's not the reason I would love to go get him. I wish it didn't happen because of an injury, but hey, I'll take it
for sure. No, I think that's a trade that they should do regardless of what happens to Asante, but we'll see what happens. All right. I think that's going to do it for us tonight. So, Tyler, any final thoughts before we head out?
No, man. Happy to see a win for the Chargers. We'll see you guys on Saturday next time for our live show.
Yeah, so usual schedule this week. Alex Insdorf will have his bowl breakdowns tomorrow. Alex Katzen will have us covered from a college football recap on Tuesday, talking about where the Chargers scouts were spending their time this past weekend. Arjun will be actually joining us for the Chargers episode this week, talking about the Jets game. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll have our normal preview show on Thursday, live show on Saturday, and then Monday Night Football next week. So that's where we will be at after that game. So it should be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Appreciate all of you for tuning in tonight. Much more fun chat today. Much more fun game today. And hopefully you guys have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next time. As always, bolt up.
Bye-bye.